Welcome back. Our next guests have sent a letter to VC firm Sequoia asking for a list of their tech investments in China. The letter is part of a broader effort to curb U.S. investments in the country. Let's bring in Congressman Mike Gallagher of Wisconsin. He chairs the Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party, and Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy of Illinois, who serves as the committee's ranking member. Thank you both for joining us. Let me start with the chairman here. What has been the response from Sequoia at this point?
Well, we have yet to get a formal response, but we're hoping that they will participate in good faith and that we can have an open and honest conversation. What we're trying to do is gather information that will inform the legislative process. Raja and I both agree that American firms should not be capitalizing Chinese military companies, Chinese surveillance companies, and the Chinese Communist Party's human rights abuses. Sequoia has a history of investing in companies that do that, like Eversec, 4Paradigm, DJI, DeepGlint. And so we want to understand how this new split between Sequoia US and Sequoia Capital China, or Hongsham, what this means, whether it will actually prevent American capital from flowing to such Chinese military companies, or whether it will actually unintentionally or intentionally allow Sequoia Capital China to avoid scrutiny from the new executive order from the Biden administration.
Yeah, Congressman Krishnamurthy, would you follow up on that? Is this split enough for you, or do you need to hear more? And what kind of, I guess, rails are you looking for, or walls between the two companies?
Well, I think the underlying issue is this, which is I think Mike and I and our members on the committee are concerned about not just capital, but also technology and know-how and expertise flowing from the funds to these PRC companies in these problematic sectors like AI, quantum, and high-tech semiconductors, which, by the way, are the subject of the Biden administration outbound restriction executive orders. I think what we're concerned about is, although it might be a step in the right direction to spin off this Sequoia China entity, are the underlying investors the same? Are the relationships going to be maintained such that expertise and know-how continues to flow from Americans to these Chinese entities? Those are some of the questions that we'll be asking.
Congressman Gallagher, I just wonder if you could talk about how much bipartisanship there. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, there's a Democrat and a Republican standing right next to each other, shoulder to shoulder, about 6 inches separating you right there. How much bipartisanship is there on this China issue regarding U.S. investment overseas?
Well, we are uncomfortably close here, but I'll try to get through the interview. I think there's a lot of bipartisanship. Our committee has operated in a profoundly bipartisan manner for the last year. I think our members are very serious, that they want to work across the aisle, and the mandate we've been given from former Speaker McCarthy and the Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries was to work in a bipartisan manner, not just to throw bombs at each other. That's not to say we agree on everything. We have principled disagreements, but we're trying to identify what is that center of gravity on which we can build a lasting China policy that will endure regardless of who's in the White House, and then will ultimately be successful in the short term in preventing a war with China, and successful in the long term in winning this technological and economic competition with China.
Yeah, but Congressman Krishnamurthy, what is the danger here that we go overboard? We want, obviously, to protect national security. At the same time, America is about being open for business, and if we restrict our companies overseas too much, we lose the competition.
I think that's exactly right. Some people talk about decoupling from China. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that we're going to be diversifying our supply chains. We're going to be de-risking, whatever the word of the moment is, that signals that we don't want to have sole dependency on China. And we learned this the hard way during the pandemic. As you know, whether it was active pharmaceutical ingredients or personal protective equipment, or, as we've now come to realize, critical minerals that are essential for EV supply chains. We can't be dependent solely on the PRC, because we know that the Chinese Communist Party uses these dependencies as leverage, as sources of coercion, and we can't have that.
Can we take this bipartisanship a step further and get a speaker between you two guys? Congressman Gallagher, do you want to comment on what's going to happen today and with the speaker?
I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not going to lie. It is a mess right now. I sort of have this image in my mind of us as a local fire department, and we're getting all these alarms that fires are going off in various neighborhoods. And rather than just getting in the truck and putting out the fire in the Middle East, the fire in Eastern Europe, the heating up across the Taiwan Strait, the fire at the southern border, we're arguing over who should drive the truck or who should sit in shotgun. We need to get our act together, select a speaker, because we have a lot of work that needs to get done in a very short period of time. So hopefully we can make progress on that front today.
Who are you supporting as the driver of the truck?
Well, I voted for Jim Jordan in the last 2 rounds. I believe we need to abide by the rule in the caucus. When you have a narrow majority, you have to support whoever the majority of the caucus votes for. Otherwise, it's total chaos. So
did you support Steve Scalise as well?
Exactly. I supported Scalise when he got the majority of the caucus. I supported Kevin McCarthy. But I think since the 8 deposed Kevin McCarthy, it's kind of unleashed Pandora's box where nobody wants to abide by that rule. And you just can't have a workable majority when we got a 4-seat difference between control of the House if you don't abide by that rule.
Yeah, but your name was floated, Congressman Gallagher. You say you're not running. Why not?
I have the job I want, which is chairing this committee, working with my good friend Raja Krishnamurthy, and we have plenty of good candidates. And I think the important thing is that whoever the speaker is going to be, they got to treat it like a 14-month deployment. You got to step up, do it, and then almost
Raja,
go away
are Democrats,
after that.
we got to go. Raja, are Democrats ready to step up and back somebody from the other side?
Potentially. I think that at this point, we're waiting to see whether, we can have kind of a bipartisan coalition, a unity coalition that sidelines the extremists and makes sure that the people's interests are first. Yesterday, I spoke to the Peace for Hong Kong Foundation in the morning, and I said, we love democracy so much that I'm voting for Speaker for a 17th time today. And, in all seriousness, I hope that we can take care of business, because as the China Global Times, the CCP propaganda organ, said, this speakership mess, unfortunately, is being used against us as a sign of weakness in our democracy. So we've got to take care of business.
We have to go. Thank you both. Thank you for your bipartisanship.
Thank you.
Thank you.